From Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Highmark Stadium in this beautiful city tonight. It's going to be an Eastern Conference grudge match between Pittsburgh and Detroit, presented by Allegheny Health Network. Sean St. Jacques, Jamie Watson here with you. And Jamie, we jump right into the starting lineups.
Let's get right into it. This is an important matchup for Pittsburgh, and how they're going to win this is the spine through the middle of the field. The three in the middle, Griffin, Merchant, Sample, are going to have to control the pace of play, and if they can do that, well, then it gets us to our player to watch, presented by Modelo, Keziah Sterling. He needs to have a good night tonight. And what is a good night for him? That's keeping possession. It's doing the simple things. But then when you get to the final third, take those chances. Take risk in behind. He's got 30 goals in the past 2 seasons for Tormenta and just got on the score sheet the other night.
Detroit City comes into Pittsburgh looking to knock off the Hounds again. They won 5 out of 5.
5 in a row for Detroit. Nothing much that they need to do differently. They've been firing on all cylinders, and a big reason for that is Maxi Rodriguez. 3 goals, 2 assists on the season. He needs to go from strength to strength by getting into the box with those timely runs like he has all season long.
We now send it down live for a special announcement from Pittsburgh's team president, Jeff Gardner.
All right, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, we're here to announce a historic landmark in the evolution of the women's soccer pathway in Western Pennsylvania. I'm joined on the field by just a fraction of the thousands of girls participating in soccer in our region, and it is for them, on behalf of the entire Riverhounds organization and our owner, Tuffy Schellenberger, that we're proud to announce that we will be launching a new women's first team in the USL Women's League expansion franchise. Our USLW team will begin play here at Highmark Stadium in May of 2025. Tonight marks a new chapter in women's soccer in Pittsburgh for our girls, for our fans, and for our entire community. That's right. You can visit riverhounds.com, click on the USLW tab to get more information and sign up for updates. Thank you so much, and we look forward for all of your support for the USLW Pittsburgh. Thank you.
A dream start for Tormenta. A magnificent strike for Minnesota. South Georgia Tormenta.
This announcement not just for Pittsburgh, but for the entirety of the USL organization. We will step aside. The kickoff is coming up next between Pittsburgh and Detroit.
Amazing. At AHN, we see you trying to be your absolute best. And when it feels like you lost your best along the way.
Okay.
We see you taking control.
Looks good. Prescription. It says here.
And needing the quickest care possible.
Let's go, let's go.
At AHN, we see you.
Ain't no better feeling than a cold one in my hand. That's why I'll be keeping Iron City in my plans. Oh, everywhere I roam, I'll be thinking about my home. Sitting pouring on the iron right before I go to rest. And when I'm laying in my bed, there's only one thing in my head. Just an ice cold can of Pittsburgh PA's best.
Living in your dream home, but your deck has become a nightmare? Quaker State Construction can make your deck look better than new with an extreme deck makeover and save you money. It's not too early to create the deck of your dreams with our design team, materials, and hassle-free installation. Get on our schedule now so you're able to enjoy your deck this season. Call Quaker State Construction at 800-262-DECK or go to QuakerStateConstruction.com.
Back here at Highmark Stadium in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Sean St. Jacques, Jamie Watson, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us here on ESPN Plus tonight. It is an Eastern Conference grudge match. And of course, Pittsburgh have waited a very, very long time to get another shot at Detroit City after the Eastern Conference quarterfinal a season ago. At the time, Detroit City backed their way into the postseason. They needed help from Miami on the final day. They got in, and then they ended Pittsburgh's dreams here at Highmark last season. Pittsburgh are looking for some revenge here tonight. Tonight's match here in Pittsburgh is presented by Allegheny Health Network, the official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. And as you might expect, it is a hostile environment here at Highmark Stadium tonight. The Hounds have won another shot at Le Rouge. They get it here tonight. A chance for some retribution. And we'll see if Danny Dichio's perfect start as Pittsburgh, as Detroit head coach, can continue. It's, of course, a venue where Detroit made history last season, their first ever playoff win. They have a chance to make more history tonight if they can survive Highmark for a second time of asking. One of the great venues and what's becoming one of the great rivalries in the USL Championship kicks off here in the Steel City. We are thrilled to bring this one to you. Detroit want to do it all over again and recreate the magic from the playoffs a season ago here at Highmark. Pittsburgh want nothing but revenge against Le Rouge for what they did to them last season and ending their dream campaign. It is bouncing here at Highmark Stadium. It always is, but it's got a little bit extra intensity here tonight in what is arguably the most anticipated game of the match week. Alongside Jamie Watson, Sean St. Jacques here with you. We can't wait to see how this one unfolds. Foul and a free kick for Detroit as we look at the icy light keys to the game. Brought to you by that premium lager that embodies all things black and gold. Jamie, we start with Pittsburgh.
The home side, they need to do their best to try to make it difficult for Detroit City to play through the middle of the field, and that's how you get numbers in there, force Detroit into wider areas. And then offensively, it's trying to get Keziah Sterling in behind as early as often. Now for Detroit, if they can try to find their way through the middle, they're going to try to maximize Maxi Rodriguez. What do you do with that? You get him on the ball. You get him in positions where he can be affecting the game higher up the field, not just in deeper positions. I think that'll be one of the biggest components for Detroit City if they want to keep this streak going and remain unbeaten.
Pittsburgh trying to continue the momentum after an impressive 3-1 win at Phoenix last time out. No Edward Kizza tonight. It's a precautionary sitting out with an injury tonight, but they'll be looking for Sterling to pick up the pieces. There's no question about that.
One thing that Detroit has been really good this season with is getting the game's first goal and playing with the lead. And with Pittsburgh, it's been 3 games now that they haven't lost, which is confidence building. They started a 3-game homestand, but they cannot concede early. That's how Detroit can dampen that confidence very early on.
Here's Ali Coote for Detroit trying to create something on this near side. It's out of play, and it's a goal kick. What a start to life in Detroit. for Danny Dicchio, who's sitting on the bench for Le Rouge today. Former MLS and English League star as a player. He's also done a tremendous job as a coach in the USL Championship, and 5 wins out of 5 for Detroit City at the start of this campaign. One more, they win tonight, would equal one of the best starts we've ever seen to a USL Championship season. And it's one of the best starts we've seen since we're talking the early 2010s. Richmond Kickers in 2011 had 6 straight wins. The Rochester Rhinos in 2012 had 6 straight wins. None have done better. Detroit tries to equal that tonight.
Having played in the USL during those seasons, I can tell you how demoralizing that was for other teams to understand that no matter whatever seemed to happen, if it was on the road or at home, you just started seeing the same team winning week after week. It was Bob Lilly's side in 2012. It was Richmond Kickers in 2011. And that is really difficult to continue to see, and it makes it to where it's a frustrating task to always look up to other teams. So Detroit City has the capability with the win tonight to sort of impact that on other teams in this league. That'll only make their presence even greater when they show up on the road. It's a team that's 6-0 coming in to play you. You think, oh my goodness, these guys just don't lose ever.
Ball goes out to the far side here for the Hounds. Junior Etu. Great ball across for Sample, who tries to touch it back into Etu's path. It's cut out, not cleared. Mertz for Sample, over the top for Forbes, who heads it down for Sterling. And Sterling had it touched back onto his boot as he took a swing, but it'll stay with Pittsburgh on the near side. Well, Bob Lilly would love nothing more to get Detroit back for ending the Hounds season a year ago. It was a 1-0 defeat. Dominic Gasso, who's on the bench tonight for Detroit City, got the goal in the 78th minute and broke Hounds' hearts after they won the Players' Shield. And of course, had a historically good regular season a year ago.
We'll have to do it tonight without Edward Kizza. You alluded to that is a big loss for this Pittsburgh Riverhounds side. So that's why there's going to be so much emphasis, and what an auditory clue for any fans at home wondering how is Pittsburgh doing? Are they doing well? Well, if we're saying Keziah Sterling's name often, then that means Pittsburgh is in the ascendancy. That means that they are getting their chances, their opportunities in behind it. If we go long stretches of tonight's match without saying his name, well, then that means Detroit City is doing everything they can to neutralize him. Those are the little things that will maybe give away where this match momentum-wise is leaning throughout tonight's proceedings.
Mertz over the top, held by Nate Steinwasser in goal for Detroit City tonight. That's a loose pass. Blackstock with some help from Mertz, trying to win the ball back for Pittsburgh. It's going to stay with Detroit, just in front of Danny Dicchio's technical area. Detroit were impressive last time out, a 3-1 win at home over the Oakland Roots. Ben Morris, Maxi Rodriguez, and the loanee from Chicago Fire FC 2, Victor Becerra, all on the score sheet. Danny Dicchio has just praised the fact that his players have taken in so much information in such a short period of time since he's come in. He's credited that as a big reason why they've done well. As Jope tries to give Detroit the lead, but he bends it over the top of the goal, and Eric Dick watches it go out of play.
Jobe has that ability to score. A wonderful strike against Loudoun earlier in the season. This time, he's just trying to get it right. It's a little bit difficult on turf when the ball's rolling away from you to try to get the exact trajectory and strike on the ball that you're hoping for. In this instance, just leaning back a little bit too much with the body shape.
Murphy loses out to Mertz. Mertz looks for Sterling, And it's a touch too firm. Every time Nate Steinwasser touches the ball, he's serenaded. The Pittsburgh Ultras behind his goal.
One thing about Steinwasser, though, he'll relish that. 31-year-old, no problem welcoming in all the critics. Never short on confidence, never short on ability. This is one of the better goalkeepers in the USL Championship. I do like the high line of confrontation and pressure that Pittsburgh is displaying inside of 9 minutes. This is, for me, one of the keys. Make Detroit City play a little bit faster than they prefer. Rush those passes, concede possession.
Bradley Sample brought down. That's a free kick for Pittsburgh. Sample, one of the players who's impressed Bob Lilly throughout the season. We're talking with Bob about him a few weeks ago, and he talked about I was going to quickly get into the starting lineup as we look at the Epic Insurance injury report. Pretty clean as far as Detroit are concerned, but of course the late news that Edward Kizza, due to precautionary injury, not available tonight. 2 goals and 1 assist to lead the Hounds so far this season. He's also the player of the week this week in the USL Championship, after he played so well at Phoenix.
He was fantastic at Phoenix. The whole team was. They did everything they needed to stifle Phoenix Rising, but also implement their style of play.
Of course, when Detroit came here and won in the Eastern Conference quarterfinal last season, only one team to that point in the season had come to Highmark and beaten the Hounds, and Detroit was able to do it. They pulled it off, they advanced, but since then, of course before that, Pittsburgh's Highmark record was immaculate. Pittsburgh hasn't won here since Detroit knocked them out in the first round of the playoffs last season. So that's also something that Bob Lilly and his group would like to put right tonight. Coming together there. It's going to lead to a Detroit City free kick, won by Michael Bryant, given by our head official tonight, Kyle Johnston, in the middle of the park. Here is Maxi Rodriguez. 3 goals and 2 assists for Le Rouge so far this season. Villanueva didn't look before he played that back heel. It's off of Mertz. It stays with Detroit. Of course, not just the record of 6 wins in a row to start the season on the line for Detroit. They're trying to keep pace with the likes of Louisville and Charleston at the top of the Eastern Conference table. For those that are just getting maybe into their seats, it was a great win for Charleston earlier today as Keziah Sterling lines one up. It's blocked. It's going to fall for Mertz, who plays in Forbes, who skies his attempt, but he was in an offside position anyway.
I think this shot initially was blocked by a handball. When Sterling strikes this, keep an eye on the defender as he throws himself to the ground. Well, that either hit the underside of the leg or it hit his arm. That happened so fast that Stephen Carroll threw himself into the path of the ball. That was a big opportunity and really great job from Carroll doing everything that he needed to just get in the way and affect the play.
Just saw a brief shot there of Canardo Forbes. He's actually 54 minutes away tonight. It's less now, of course. Playing the most minutes in USL Championship history by any player, added onto the list of his immaculate resume. Meanwhile, Etu dances his way into the penalty area and forces a save out of Steinwasser. Griffin picks up the pieces for the Hounds. Etu again for Biasi. Biasi into the middle. It nearly fell for, well, multiple Pittsburgh players. It went past everybody. Coot under pressure. It's a throw-in for Detroit.
What a big opportunity. To just decisive in the nature to run across, and the save from Steinwasser. If he parries this sideways, this is the tap in for Sterling, but it's so smart to make the save in the direction that he did. That's really good goalkeeping from Steinwasser. That man knows his side was inches away from having a dream start here at Highmark.
Stay with Pittsburgh on the near side. And Detroit trying to keep pace at the top of the table. The only reason they're not at the top, I'm wondering, why you're not at the top with a perfect start? It's because Charleston and Louisville have played a few more games than Detroit City have played so far. Of course, the battery, or a battering ram, earlier this afternoon against Vegas, as speaking of which, Mertz is in some discomfort here for Pittsburgh.
Oh, this is a painful one for Mertz because he is fully exposed as he's trying to switch this field and never even looks around to see the defender, and he swings as hard as he can. Hey, Dicchio is thinking that's not a foul. Mertz has actually kicked the defender, but the defender's gone through, and I'm okay with the decision. I actually fine with the foul, but that is a painful one for Robbie Mertz.
Griffin flares it out to the far side for Etu. He's bent into the penalty area. Sample has his header come up short. Bilal Osumanu picks it up for Pittsburgh for Blackstock. Biasi waited an extra moment. Had some help behind him from Hogan. Sample is handled by Villanueva. After a little bit of a discussion between Kyle Johnson and his assistant on the near side, it'll go back to Detroit City.
Thank you for keeping Highmark Stadium safe and smoke-free.
Well, that's a giveaway by Villanueva. Blackstock. First time ball in. Tried to find Forbes. Sterling follows up. Amu Mensah clears. Only as far as Sample. Blackstock on a second try. Robbie Mertz stays onside. First time ball by Sample. It's up for grabs, and it's cleared away. Again, not definitively. And then Sample tries one, and it takes a big ricochet out for a corner.
That could have gone anywhere off of James Murphy. And with Steinwasser going the other direction, this could have trickled into the net had it fallen fortuitously on target. It's a little bit of a panic moment, rushed. Ultimately for Pittsburgh, they're completely content with pushing the pace of the game. It's just too fast for Detroit City right now.
Mertz with the corner. Just off the head of Hogan. Forbes recycles for Etu. Hogan stays up the field and has a chance to drive into the penalty area, and it comes back off of his boot, and it's out for a goal kick. Well defended by Maxi Rodriguez for Detroit City.
Yeah, but Maxi Rodriguez being that far back is not what Detroit City is going to want. You love the effort and the commitment to, you know, the less glamorous side of the game defending, but Maxi Rodriguez needs to be 60, 70 yards higher up the field the other direction.
That's part of the reason why Detroit's had such a good start to the season. The fact that Danny Dicchio's played Maxi Rodriguez higher up the field.
I think for Detroit City, they're doing all that they can to just weather the storm right now, and that's okay. Right? There are times when you're on the road and you're going to be under pressure. Just got to make sure you don't concede. Bend, don't break mentality right now. And if it has to get ugly, you got to play long to break some of the pressure. That's fine, but then you got to clear your lines and try to get some of the ground back.
Another Pittsburgh corner upcoming. Time leader in assists, not just in Pittsburgh history, but in USL Championship history. King Kenny, as he's known, Kenardo Forbes will line this up. He plays a wonderful ball in, looking for Hogan. Mertz back across with Steinwasser flailing, and it's headed back to Mertz. Mertz tries again. Plays another good ball in, and Pat Hogan scores! Mertz with a ball on a silver platter. And Pat Hogan gives Pittsburgh the lead as Highmark erupts.
It's everything the Riverhounds deserve. Initially, Robbie Mertz hangs this up, and it's going to be a 1-2 across the face of the 18, and this is where the magic happens. Just create a little bit of space, and it's a delicious teasing ball from Robbie Mertz. He just hangs it up. Hogan resets ever so well because he was off the field after the initial cross. Gets back into a dangerous position, unmarked. And with the player on the line, he's still able to get it beyond Stephen Carroll, beyond Nate Steinwasser. And it's the start the Riverhounds desperately need. 3 unbeaten, 1-0 to the good at home inside the first 20 minutes.
It's Pat Hogan's first league goal for Pittsburgh. His first goal in the league since 2022 as a member of the Battery. Not a bad time to get it. That's as loud as we've heard Highmark in quite some time.
With the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, they are unbeaten in their last 22 matches when scoring the opening goal in league play. That goes all the way back to September 15th of 2022. They lost to Birmingham Legion 2-1 on the day.
That sound that just erupted from the Pittsburgh Ultras, just reminiscent of when they hosted the Columbus Crew in the Open Cup last year. This place always seems to deliver on big nights like this. And now we wait to see how Detroit deals with a bit of adversity in a hostile environment.
Well, and we'll be able to tell the response for the next 5 minutes from each team. Detroit need to try to gain a little bit of territory, a little bit of ground. And we're talking seconds before the goal about bending, not breaking, but that was the breakthrough. Now, what's the response? Do Pittsburgh continue? Do they keep going? Right now, I don't think anything should change. You've got +1 on the scoreboard, but nothing should change otherwise from the mentality of the Riverhounds. That was a lovely turn.
Sample plays in Blackstock. It's reset back to the goal scorer, Hogan, who gives the ball away. Mensah for Detroit. Rodriguez. Getting Ben Morris involved, who scored the first goal for Detroit last time out against Oakland. Mensah up ahead. Biasi's header. Wonderful control by Morris. Jope was harried by Mertz. It's kept alive. Cross by Michael Bryant is out of play for a throw to Detroit.
Experience every thrilling moment of the 2024 season with our season ticket packages. As a season ticket holder, you'll enjoy unparalleled access, exciting benefits, and the convenience of securing your seats for every game. Don't miss out on the excitement of the 2024 season. Become a season ticket holder today by contacting the ticketing at
Mensah.
865-GOAL.
Gets it back from Carroll. A good first touch just to keep the possession alive. And then Maxi Rodriguez on the turn is brought down by Langston Blackstock.
That is such a good bit of skill for Maxi Rodriguez. Just understanding that Blackstock has been aggressive in stepping up through the entirety of the first 26 minutes of this match. So understanding as this ball gets paid with with pace, he's able to use the momentum and be able to turn, put his body in between the ball and Blackstock, and earns the free kick. So first real big opportunity for Detroit from a set piece.
Sent in by Murphy. Eric Dick does get a hand on it. Griffin brings Pittsburgh out of danger, although does give possession back to the visitors.
This is the adventure that Eric Dick went on. A little bit of help from his teammate as well, and there was the pressure at the back post. Flat delivery going away from goal. I would have preferred to see a more curled on-target effort with the high line that Pittsburgh had. There would have been some space in behind to try to drop it instead of that flat far post delivery where you're reliant on a second ball going back across the face of the 18.
Mertz steps in. Sample for Blackstock. Mertz couldn't quite keep it for Pittsburgh. Here's Jope. Jope's touch was a bit too firm. Great control by Griffin. And Griffin tried to play in Forbes. Danny Griffin actually just hit a milestone a few minutes ago. Just went over 10,000 minutes in his USL Championship career. Only needed 21 to reach that milestone. Still has not missed a league game for the Hounds. As Sterling's played in here for Pittsburgh, swept away by Rodriguez.
Maxi Rodriguez has done all of his good work tonight. 25 yards in from his own touchline. That is not what Danny Dicchio wants. That's not why he was the player to watch in the pregame. It was what he can do from 25 yards in at the other end of the field. That's just a player that wants to come back and affect the game. Here he is coming back 20 yards into his own half now to try to get on the ball. Good players want to get on the ball, but that does next to nothing for his team. You got Jope to do it. You got Coot that can do it. All these other players, Murphy's in there. Rodriguez needs to be 20, 30 yards higher up the field easily for Detroit.
It's headed down. Brief chance there for Morris, but again, Pittsburgh close it down. I wonder, Jamie, if what you're talking about is just a symptom of the way that Bob Lilly's teams, especially at home, like to play. They're at times suffocating against the opposition. Almost every coach that talks about Bob Lilly or talks about Pittsburgh is always very respectful, if not reverent, of what Bob Lilly has done and how difficult trips to Highmark have been under Bob Lilly's tutelage. We talked with Danny Dicchio early in the week. He even went as far as to say is that some people have been disrespectful to Pittsburgh, even despite the slow start they've had to this season. He said Bob Lilly and his staff are always so detail-oriented. They're so difficult to play against. And he said they always find a way to make the playoffs. He says it's so unfair to disrespect him. Highmark is such a tough place to go. They're going to start rolling eventually. In the first 30 minutes, unfortunately from a Detroit City perspective, would back that up.
Danny Dicchio has been around this game for a very long time, and he understands that form is temporary. And I think the form that we saw at the beginning of the season was so uncharacteristic from Pittsburgh. And I think there was a course correction, a little bit of, I would say regressing to the mean, but maybe progressing to the mean for the Riverhounds. And so he was under no disillusions that just because their record in the first 6 games is not indicative of what you would have expected, that doesn't mean that this group won't get it together and won't turn it around. And over the course of the last 3 games, and in particular last weekend away at Phoenix, they have gotten it together. Pittsburgh has looked better.
I remember before Pittsburgh played the Rowdies here earlier in the season, a game that ended 0-0. Bob Lilly was telling us about how Pittsburgh still was yet to join the party, as he put it, in this USL Championship season. Well, they certainly did against the champions last time out, and they're hoping that that will continue tonight, and so far it has.
Saw a few people partying when Pat Hogan scored the header in the 20th minute.
That's for sure. And they're hoping that is a sign of things to come. Here is Canardo Forbes. Tried to play it back into the path of Griffin, it looks like. He's going to win a corner for the Hounds on the far side.
It's time for Riverhounds. Corner kick.
The corner is what led to the sequence that led to Pittsburgh's first goal. See the drop down there, how dominant Pittsburgh has been. Will that continue from the set piece? Blackstock was the target. It's headed away by Murphy. Coming together there, sees Biasi pick up the pieces. Etu back out wide. Forbes for Griffin. Forbes spears one in. It was flicked on by Mertz. Kept in by Osumanu. Sample dispossessed by Jope. Etu keeps it alive. Still Etu. Oh my word, it was nearly dazzling. He goes down. Oh, the referee's pointed. It's a penalty. And Detroit City are incensed.
At first glance, I think Amu Mensah wins the ball. Another marauding run forward from Etu. He did this earlier and it forced a really good save out of Nate Steinwasser, and this is rinse and repeat. Now watch, as he goes through, Amu Mensah goes to ground early. The ball goes sideways. You tell me if at home you think he gets a touch. I think the ball changes trajectory. I think Amu Mensah gets the ball. I do not think this is a penalty. This will be a great look at it. Amu Mensah. I think there's the slightest touch. I think that is a clean tackle in the box. Look at how it changed. It's not going sideways. The Revolutions are now going towards Stephen Carroll. If he doesn't touch it, it continues to roll towards Nate Steinwasser. Not a physics major, but I think there's enough of a touch from Amu Mensah. Fantastic work from our camera crew and production to show you that angle, because I think that gives every bit of credence to the shout that that is not a penalty.
It is going to be given. Remember, there's no VAR. So Danny Griffin, he's going to step up here for Pittsburgh from the penalty spot.
He's 2 for his last 3. Likes to go low to the keeper's left.
Griffin, it's in! Just past the gloves of Nate Steinwasser. Danny Griffin's first goal of the season gives Pittsburgh a 2-0 lead in front of a jubilant Highmark.
He changes it up. He goes for power. Nate Steinwasser was all over it, but there's just too much on it from the captain. When you put that much pace on it, you put your foot through it. Say, it's fine if I give it away and let my hips tell you where I'm going. Good luck, catch it if you can. Steinwasser can't catch up to it. And the Riverhounds, they continue to press. They continue to be on the front foot. And they get the reward now, 2 goals up against the unbeaten, perfect Detroit City FC.
Amu Mensah was booked for the challenge. It's going to be a penalty decision that is certainly going to be talked about to give some bit of the word would be a bit soft on Kyle Johnston. Took us a few replays to really get to the conclusion. There's a conclusion that did look like, thanks to our tremendous crew, that Devin Amu Mensah did just about get it right, and we are going to get a chance as this goes out for a goal kick to look at it again.
So watch the way the ball's rolling. The rotation of it is going this way towards Steinwasser. It's going straight. Now watch it just go ever so slow to the right towards Carroll. There wasn't a touch in that moment from Etu to make it go that way. Another great look at it. I think that goes to show there is the slightest of touches, but the touch on the ball is first. There wasn't extra contact in there in the slide that endangered the player's safety. Nevertheless, it was a foul. The ensuing yellow card comes in to Amu Mensah, the point to the spot. That is a big decision from our referee, Kyle Johnston.
And again, to be fair, it took us a couple of camera angles to find the definitive look, so a little bit of reprieve to Kyle Johnston. However, when we did get the right angle, it did look like that Devin Amu Mensah got the challenge just about right.
So I will say, to this point, we needed a couple angles. We needed to be able to go to the other side of the goal where there was that perspective, a camera up to your top right, that was able to spot the way the ball was rolling and the slight touch. So imagine in real time being a referee to make that decision. It gave you all of the indications that it looked like a penalty. So this it's not a bad call. We just have the hindsight and the ability to look at it from a different perspective slowed down. And even then, it was still, took us a minute to get there with the decision, right? That we thought was probably just. So that is really close, and with no video review, no video assistant referees reviewing these, you've got to go with your gut instinct, and that's what our referee, Kyle Johnson, decided to do.
And this will be the last thing I say about it, because we don't have VAR, but you wonder if we did, it still would have been a tough decision. It's one of those where it would have taken a moment.
So, it was that tight, yeah.
Yeah. What we do know is that Pittsburgh are rolling at the moment. They have another corner as Sample trying to get his head onto it. And the Riverhounds will get to recycle through Biasi. First time ball in by Mertz, whose confidence is really soaring at the moment, but he finds the gloves of Steinwasser.
Really impressed with the continuation of pressure from the Riverhounds. Look where they're winning it back again.
Sterling for Mertz. Griffin. Did he keep that alive? The referee took a moment. Becerra is in agony at the moment. It does look like it's a Detroit free kick, and it also looks like Danny Griffin is going to see yellow.
He can't believe the decision because he's saying he won the ball, but it was the follow-through with his cleats high and exposed that endangers the player's safety. That's why he will get a booking here. Oh, and it does land mid-shin on Becerra. That is a painful one. I do think that is right. It's not a free pass after you win the ball to have your foot go anywhere, land wherever on the player and just say, well, I got the ball. In that moment, that follow-through is a reckless tackle.
So Amu Mensah and Griffin now on yellows. Is Forbes trying to get Pittsburgh moving in the right direction. It's going to be brought back for a foul against Maxi Rodriguez. Free kick for the Hounds with 5 minutes left plus stoppage time in the half.
Congratulations to Amy Saudi and Bogdan Kotsev, as today they got married and are celebrating by treating
Only sent ahead.
Riverhounds game this evening. Congratulations.
Sample couldn't quite get it back. Steinwasser. Rodriguez wins a throw off of Mertz. One of the other telling stats, and had the good drop downs throughout as Morris tries to sneak in behind. Eric Dick is there. The Riverhounds have a 1.15 expected goals so far in the half. Detroit, 0.02.
Not a math major. Just like it wasn't a physics major with the direction of the ball, but that doesn't sound very good, that 0.02 expected goal total.
Haven't had much to work with, to say the least, in the attack. This ball's played ahead for Villanueva. Blackstock is all over him and concedes the throw to Detroit City, who are looking to land a late first half sucker punch.
I think we're good if you want to go back in. It's up to you.
Villanueva. The right idea. Michael Bryant looks to pick up the pieces for Detroit. That pass is picked off. Forbes has it for Pittsburgh. Tries to play in Keziah Sterling. Sterling holds it up. Forbes gets it right back to him. Sterling goes down and he commits the foul in the end. Free kick Detroit.
Was there any part of Stephen Carroll that thought the foul was going against him with that reaction? Initially, when he heard the whistle, he was furious. And then he realized that he was the one that was fouled and getting the foul instead of being called for one.
Biasi shoved over by Morris. Free kick. Awkward pass back for Osumanu, and all he could do is clear it out for a throw-in. Bob Lilly hoping his team can finish off the half as strong as they started it. This is Job. Bryant. First time ball in by Murphy is tame in the end. Riverhounds fans, please join us Saturday, May 4th for Mascot Mania Night. First 750 fans will receive a Squish Ammo Plush giveaway as the Riverhounds welcome Miami FC to town. Get your tickets today. You can enjoy a tremendous atmosphere, just like the one we've had already tonight. Hasn't been as enjoyable for Detroit. Steinwasser's under some pressure here from Sterling. And he does give the ball away in the end, Steinwasser, but he should have enough time to get back between the sticks. Pittsburgh come again. We're told there's going to be 3 added minutes. That is the amount that we have remaining in the half.
3 minutes.
Biasi has his pocket picked. But Detroit can't get out of their own end. Here's Etsu. Forbes for Griffin. Will the Hounds get one last say here in the half? Blackstock commits a foul. It's going to be a free kick for Detroit.
No, I don't think this is a booking. It's a turnover, but they're 10 yards inside the opponent's half. And I'm not even sure there was more than one player for Detroit in the attacking half. This is not a booking. So as this turns over, if this is in the middle of the park and there are numbers going forward, okay, that's fine. Yeah, it's a foul. That's a precedent now that you're setting that you've got to keep on now. If there's another similar foul to that nature, you have to be consistent.
Suffice to say, Bob Lilly agreed with your assessment. He's talking with the 4th official as we speak.
I'll let you read his lips and say that on air.
I'm going to leave that one alone.
So you're saying you like your job, huh?
I do, quite a bit. That's just Bob Lilly, but we can't repeat what he said. Now then, maybe a chance here for Detroit. However, it's well defended by Eric Dick, and he was touched on the way through. Looks like it's going to be a foul and a free kick. You can hear some of the Highmark faithful asking that Ali Coote get the same fate as Langston Blackstock, but it hasn't happened. And that in itself is why you went into that soliloquy earlier, Jamie.
No one really accuses me of very many soliloquies in my life. Soliloquies?
Second time was correct.
There we go. Now don't ask me to spell it.
I couldn't help you there, to be fair. Here's Murphy. Final 30 seconds of what's been a tremendous half of USL Championship play. Ball's floated over the top for Morris. Well dealt with by Biasi.
That was awesome from Biasi.
Acrobatics, to say the least. Kept it alive for Etu, who couldn't quite do the same for Forbes. At the 3 added minutes, that ball's going to float out of play, looking for Ali Koot. And that is how the half ends here at Highmark. 2 goals for the Hounds. Pat Hogan in the 20th, Danny Griffin from the penalty spot in the 35th, and Pittsburgh are halfway to getting revenge on Detroit City for the playoffs a season ago, Jamie, but there's still a big second half to be played.
That was a fantastic 45 minutes from the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. Much of the same is expected in the second half from them, and Detroit City FC need to get more numbers forward, try to create some opportunities, and get something going forward. They sit on .02 XG as they go to the half.
Tremendous half from the Hounds. We'll step aside. Plenty to come at the half in the Steel City. Pittsburgh leads Detroit by 2-0.
Have you seen the new double-sided scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery? It's $1 million multiplier madness. And it comes with a bonus game on the back for even more chances to win. It's like having a piece of cake for dessert, and then having another piece of cake. Because after all, who doesn't like more of a good thing?
Scratch it, flip it, and keep on scratching.
Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF and you'll see the difference between other roofing companies and Ireland Contracting. Like Tom here. He's a professional.
Deanna?
Yes.
Hi, Tom from Ireland Contracting. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. You're right on time.
Always.
Let me show you my concern.
Absolutely.
And so, Tom will do a free inspection, answer your questions, and give you a realistic estimate. He takes your home's improvements so seriously, he treats it like his own. That's the Ireland Contracting difference. Call 1-800-NEW-ROOF and see for yourself.
Halftime is presented by Allegheny Health Network, the official medical provider of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds SC. It is Pittsburgh 2, Detroit 0 at the half. At the time, we will take a look now at the USLW announcement with Pittsburgh joining in on the fun.
A dream start for Tormenta. A magnificent strike for Minnesota. South Georgia Tormenta.
Of course, Detroit will have a big part to play in the USLW League as well. Now we get to take some time to look at the Pittsburgh Pathway to Pro, as well as their YouTube channel.
We saw the signs early.
Here come a couple of changes here.
Really intelligent player, feels the game, aware.
Dragicic wins the ball right back for Pittsburgh.
Always had a work ethic about soccer and just always had a passion.
Dragicic headed centrally, Shuttler spills, but it's cleared off the line.
Nate Dragicic, number 17 for the pro team from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and played 11 years in the Riverhounds Academy.
Pittsburgh continues to be one of the class organizations in the USL Championship. They lead Detroit here at the half. by 2-0. We'll step aside. News and notes, upcoming schedule, and more from around the USL Championship is coming up next.
The best nights start with Jägermeister. Made with 56 botanicals. Always served ice cold.
Take a miracle to come back from this. Heartbreaking end to the season. But what's this?
For the moments when anticipation
Clock's counting down. 5 seconds. 3, 2,
becomes celebration. Jägermeister. Meister the moment.
Distance, oh, what an effort, and it's special.
Machoma fires,
We all have goals. But let's be honest, most of us aren't going to be professional athletes. But if your goal is to finish your degree, we can help. Come to a university that puts your goals first. Bellevue University, your partner in finishing goals.
Pain doesn't care who you are or why you hurt, but pain can be mastered if you know the way. Fight back with Tiger Balm's legendary herbal power. Trusted for over 100 years, our proven blend of camphor, menthol, and essential oils tames pain with the strength and speed of the tiger, so that you can rise above pain and get back to living. This is the way of the tiger.
Back here at the half between Pittsburgh and Detroit. A tremendous first half from Bob Lilly's boys. We'll see if they can continue it in the second half, which is coming up in just a few moments. But before we get to that, we get a chance to look at the news and notes from around the league. And it begins with the USL Jägermeister Cup, which is a tremendous new addition to the USL League One calendar. Draws go to penalty shootouts, so we'll see how all of that chaos unfolds on ESPN+. And of course, Jamie, Maine's first pro soccer team is going to kick off in League One in 2025.
Can't wait for that as well, and just this league keeps going and getting stronger and stronger year over year. Player of the week, Edward Kiza, obviously out tonight. Big loss for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but they're coping just fine as we sit at the halftime interval.
No question about that. Scores from around the league tonight in the USL Championship. How about a half dozen for the Battery against Vegas?
Well, and Nick Markanik, 4 goals in that match. Now running away with the Golden Boot and assist to go with that. Indy 11, NCFC 0-0 at the half. Miami SC, a little bit of a surprise result as we sit at halftime, 2-1 up over San Antonio. And then Louisville City FC just continuing to go from strength to strength, up 2 goals.
Upcoming schedule later on tonight, El Paso taking on Tulsa. That's a big one. The Roots and the Switchbacks both need to bounce back, and I don't know how we're going to get there yet, Jamie, but Orange County, Monterey Bay still to come later on tonight at 10 Eastern.
Oh, that'll be a great one. Really looking forward to that. Morton Carlson, Frank Yallop, 2 managers that have their team playing exceptionally well right now. That will be a great one to cap the night off.
No question about that. We got a good one here in the Steel City. It's Pittsburgh 2, Detroit 0. Highlights and stats are next.
At AHN, we see you trying to be your absolute best. And when it feels like you lost your best along the way. We see you taking control.
Looks good. Prescription. It says here,
and needing the quickest care possible.
Let's go.
At AHN, we see you.
Pittsburgh is our home. Check in with Thermo Twin. We are employee owned. Check in with Thermo Twin. Check in. Check in. Check in. Check in. Check in with Thermo Twin.
Right now, check in with Thermo Twin for 24-month financing.
Check in with Thermo Twin.
It's Sonesta of Pittsburgh awning and shade sale. Up to 50% off. Up to 50% off retractable awnings for your deck or patio. Up to 50% off retractable screens for any open area. Up to 50% off window, door, or porch awnings. Select from over 150 colors. Plus, get 0% for up to 84 months. Call now and get your awning installed this spring and enjoy it for the summer. Call 1-800-292-5594 or visit sonestaofpittsburgh.com.
Sean St. Jacques, Jamie Watson, our entire crew back here with you at Highmark in Pittsburgh. The Hounds having their way so far, leading Detroit City by 2-0. And before we get to the second half in front of a rowdy crowd here at Highmark, we get a chance to look back at the first half highlights. And it was a really entertaining half, to say the least. And Jamie, we pick it up with Pittsburgh on the attack. Highlights are sponsored by Corona.
These highlights will be delicious to the Pittsburgh Riverhound fans, like a Corona on a night like tonight. Pat Hogan gets up after Robbie Mertz has a good bit of individual skill. The first one gets sent back out by his teammate, but Mertz back up off his feet. Hogan was off the field, gets himself back to the top of the 6-yard box. Mertz does a little bit of a dance, creates some space against Murphy. And Pat Hogan does the rest. A fantastic finish, his first in a Riverhounds jersey. And then here's the controversial moment I will be talking about, I'm sure, as the week goes on. Amu Mensah gets called for a foul, gets a yellow card in the process. Did he get a touch? Did he not? We both thought that there was the slightest of touches, but it doesn't matter what we think. And what matters most, Danny Griffin steps up, delivers the goods from 12 yards out, enough power to get past Steinwasser, who guesses correctly. And that right there puts us 2-0 for the host going into the half.
Halftime stats here, and they tell quite the story. Yes, more possession for Detroit, but 0 shots on target. And we talked about the XG earlier. It's at 0.02 for Danny Dichio's side.
Very uncharacteristic for a Detroit City FC this season. Coming into this match, a perfect 5-0 to start the season off. But everything from an analytics standpoint, everything from the eye test would tell you that the Pittsburgh Riverhounds were far and away the better team in the first half. They did everything that they needed to get the first goal, to continue to push to get the second goal. They did everything to be the protagonist in that half, and now they need to replicate that in the second half.
Coming into the night, Detroit City had conceded the joint fewest goals in the league with just 4. They've conceded 2 already in the first half tonight. The other team that was joint with them for fewest was Sac Republic, who also had a tremendous start to the season. In Detroit, one of the last few undefeated teams in the league. They're the only team, however, remaining that has been perfect at the start of the campaign, but that run is in serious jeopardy at the moment. Pittsburgh only has revenge on the mind at the moment. They had a tremendous first 45 minutes, maybe the best half we've seen from the Hounds to this point in the campaign. Goals from Hogan and Griffin. And we will see how this second half plays out. But one thing we do know, Jamie, is we need to see a little bit more in the attack from Detroit, and it will be interesting to see if Pittsburgh can keep up. It was nearly a perfect first half defensively. They really didn't give up much at all, and that includes half chances, really.
No, Detroit were not dangerous whatsoever in that first half, but I think it was because Pittsburgh were so aggressive. They played such a high line of confrontation, and they were first to almost every second ball. That was the big difference. Detroit needs to get back in this match by winning some more of those second balls and getting more numbers forward and taking some chances.
Now, as we expected, it's been a tremendous high-mark atmosphere this evening. The second half is moments away from getting underway after the whistle will go from Kyle Johnston. Sterling gets the second half started here in the Steel City. And Pittsburgh keep the good times rolling in this one tonight. Or will we see a Le Rouge recovery in the second half? Both teams are unchanged at the start of the second half. Jean St. Jacques, Jamie Watson, our entire crew, thrilled to have you with us. We hope you've enjoyed it so far. Clearance by Eric Dick is picked up by James Murphy. The Rouge forced to recycle. Maxi Rodriguez, who really didn't get going at all in the first half for Detroit. Trying to win a throw-in and does so for City on the near side. I mentioned earlier, Jamie, that if we weren't calling out Keziah Sterling's name a lot, then it might be bad signs for Pittsburgh. Well, we've rarely talked about Maxi Rodriguez so far, and that is a bad sign for Detroit City, as Luke Biasi is slow to get up after the last sequence.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. And Sterling did a lot of the dirty work. So he was occupying the two center backs for Detroit City. So while we didn't say his name, he was also doing a lot to impact the play. When we did say Maxi Rodriguez's name, it was the impact player that we wanted to watch out for before tonight's proceedings began. We said he's going to need to be involved and he can maximize it. We said his name when he was 20 yards from his own end line defending. And that, as we talked about the keys to the game, was the exact opposite of what needed to happen. Pittsburgh, let's go back and review this. They clogged the middle, check. Sterling in behind. Well, he pressed, he was impactful. But Detroit, they didn't score first. They didn't maximize Maxi. They didn't do really much of anything in that first half. This second 45 needs to be much better from them across all phases of the game.
Etu brought down. That is a Pittsburgh free kick. Forbes had good shape on it, but it's too firm, and it's out for a goal kick.
Player Forbes' quality will expect better from himself in that moment. He's the all-time assist leader for the Riverhounds, and that delivery, that's not how he got there with a service like that. Normally very, very accurate, very dangerous on those set pieces.
One stat that it's actually a good time to mention is that in the prior meetings between these two, it is tied in the regular season. 1 win apiece and then 3 draws. As Forbes plays a lovely ball in behind. Mertz didn't quite get that right. And maybe a few faint appeals for a penalty from Pittsburgh. Steinwasser resets.
That was a much better entry pass from Forbes, though. Good reading of the bounce and understanding the turf here. The ball did roll out, I believe, yeah.
I took the words out of my mouth there, Jamie. It is a throw-in for Pittsburgh. I should mention that there's never been a team in this fixture that scored 3 goals, as Etu looks for a second penalty, and he is going to be booked for simulation, it looks like here, by Kyle Johnston. Well, how ironic is that after he won the penalty in the first half under a bit of controversy.
So as he goes through, there's a slight grab in that moment. I'm okay with the no penalty.
Number 8, Junior Etu.
I'd have been okay with no yellow card, but there was contact. But Kyle Johnston, I think he maybe went to the half and he watched the highlights and saw the penalty he did give and was not happy with Junior at 2. No, I don't know. In that moment, in all seriousness, I would have been okay with just a no call there. The yellow seems slightly harsh because there was contact, but I think he's gotten it right. It definitely was not a penalty.
Again, just to finish the earlier point, no team has scored more than twice in the history of this fixture. Pittsburgh did beat Detroit in the league here at Highmark last season, July 15, 2023. They won 2-0. That's the only time there's ever been a team that has scored multiple goals in this fixture. Add this one onto the list tonight, but neither side have ever scored 3 against the other. Pittsburgh could very well do that tonight. It's always been such a defensive battle. Remember when Detroit won here in the playoffs last year, that was a 1-goal game. Dominic Gasso, who we could see in the second half for Le Rouge tonight, scored the winner in the 78th. That was the only goal of the game. But the Hounds are humming at the moment. Here's Forbes. Etu into the middle. It's past Forbes. It's Blackstock, who let one rip off of his right peg, but he sends it soaring over the top.
My goodness, the connection on this was clean from Blackstock. Just can't guide that with the body shape, leaning over the ball underneath the crossbar, but there's no catching up to that if you're Nate Steinwasser, if that stays underneath the crossbar.
Etu again. Pittsburgh at the moment nearly in full flight at the start of this second half. Griffin for Mertz. Sterling turning past Carroll, can't get past Bryant. That's going to ricochet out of play. It's a throw-in for the Hounds on the far side. That's an errant throw by Langston Blackstock. I wonder if the ball ever went in play. I don't think it did. It's going to stay with Pittsburgh. Good intervention by Amu Mensah. Now, Maxi Rodriguez getting a chance to lead Detroit into the final third. Bryant, a little dink back for Rodriguez, who didn't have much room to work with on the near side. It stays with Le Rouge. Here's Morris. Not the best touch. Rodriguez surrounded by Riverhounds players. Sample takes it off him. Mertz with a reverse ball for Sample. Pittsburgh looked to break here on the far side with Blackstock.
Great recovery from Detroit City FC, but even better decision making from the Riverhounds to keep possession in that moment instead of trying to force a ball through.
Job couldn't quite get it under his spell. That's Maxi Rodriguez who's struggling in the middle of the park for Detroit City at the moment. He gets back up to try to win the header and does so. Bryant again, he's impeded by Forbes. These are some of the signs of what Pittsburgh was doing last season, almost every team that they came up against. Griffin plays a wonderful ball out to the far side for Blackstock. Forbes is in the middle. He got his head on it. Etu can recover it. Biasi pinging one into the middle. It's headed centrally. Not the best clearance by Job. And Mertz can recover the possession for Osumanu. Sumano continues his run. Now Sumano trying to cross it into the middle. Wins a corner for the Hounds on the far side.
Hounds fans, it's time for a Pittsburgh corner kick.
So far in the second half, the status quo has remained unchanged. Mertz to take. Hogan already scored once, but this time he is the one who's penalized against Amu Mensah.
With 54 minutes played tonight, Riverhounds midfielder in all-time appearances.
Now we're in the 56th minute. You can hear the beginning of the announcement inside of the stadium. It's another milestone for Kenardo Forbes. He has now played in more minutes than anyone in USL Championship history. He's already the league's leading assistman in USL Championship history. His glowing resume adds another incredible bullet point.
One of the hardest things in professional sports is longevity, consistency, and health. That combination is what every player strives for above all. And Kenardo Forbes has been able to do that year after year, put his name and pen on the team sheet, and he's produced at the highest level. Congratulations, Kenardo Forbes.
Ooh, Detroit City nearly got back into it. Wonderful ball played in. First real opportunity of note, and Maxi Rodriguez is stifled by Eric Dick.
It would have been muted celebrations if Maxi Rodriguez had been able to get this beyond Eric Dick. Dick make absolutely sure of this. Good positioning, catches it cleanly.
The big note, by the way, on the King Kenny minutes record, he's now played in, and it's counting, of course, 21,238 minutes and counting. Hugh Roberts had the record, formerly of Monterey Bay, now playing in USL League One. And now it's King Kenny with another jewel in the crown in USL Championship play. He was 54 minutes away tonight. And my math's not the best either, but we're now in minute 58.
My goodness, that number is just staggering.
Can he cap it off with a big moment? Forbes gets into the penalty area. So another wonderful King Kenny run. It is going to go out for a Hounds corner.
Pittsburgh fans, it's time for another Riverhounds corner.
Just a reminder as well, Kenardo Forbes, he's 35 years old. Didn't look like it there. Mertz wins a second corner for the Hounds. Of course, had tremendous success under Bob Lilly in Rochester. He followed Bob to Pittsburgh. And he's just breaking all the records, isn't he? Got a corner played in here. It has to be cleared off that near post. Atu recycles. Forbes plays a lovely ball into Atu, who plays the ball across. It was deflected, and Detroit do clear it away before Steinwasser is called upon. Here's Griffin. First time ball in by Blackstock. Mertz tries to keep it alive. Atu. Forbes has it cleared away by Bryant. Sample sends it back into the mix. Murphy gets ahead to it for Detroit, and Coote comes out with it. Now can Detroit City break the other way? Great ball by Jope, but Becerra is closed down. Forbes plays the ball back in, looking for Mertz. And in the end, Steinwasser shovels it back into play. Here comes Detroit. Can they pick up some momentum? Murphy up ahead. And Coote slows it down just a touch.
So everyone on both sides can catch their breaths. That was end-to-end stuff. My goodness, he's more out of breath. The players or you commentating on that last 2.5 minutes?
It better not be me.
That is exciting, man. That was just was going and going, and this pace has certainly picked up, and Detroit will be very pleased with that. Faster paced match and more frantic nature will be better for the team that's chasing the match, trying to get back into it. Winning up higher up the field, this is good.
Morris on the turn. Can't quite find Becerra.
Now look where Detroit City are winning this, higher up the field. That's why they're getting these opportunities now.
Morris tries to find Becerra again. It's well dealt with at the back there by Pittsburgh. Biasi is able to fend off a challenge. Has to be a bit careful here with 2 more on him. Biasi is going to lift it out of play. It looks like Detroit are going to make a couple of alterations here. Yazid Matthews and Matt Sheldon are getting set to come on. The aforementioned Becerra is coming off. And the other man coming off. Well, that's a mistake by the 4th official. Sheldon coming on. It looks like Michael Bryant is going to come off.
Coming out of the match, number 7, Victor Becerra. And in his place, number 27, Yazid Matthews. Also checking out, number 12.
Stephen Carroll is getting looked at on this near side.
13, Matt Sheldon.
He is not going to be substituted. And again, just to confirm, Bryant and Becerra out, Sheldon and Matthews on. Danny Dicchio and Stephen Carroll is not going to be welcomed back on the pitch. It looked like he was getting his eye looked after on the near side. Just past the hour mark here at Highmark. Here's Keziah Sterling. Couldn't quite get through. First touches for Sheldon as he sends it ahead. Morris looking for Matthews, but Osumanu is on the case. It's been one to cherish so far for the Steel Army behind the goal. Hounds have played a tremendous outing so far. There's still a big chunk of time left, and we're starting to finally see Detroit City spread their wings a bit in the attack. They had 0 shots on target in the first half. They finally have one through Maxi Rodriguez. And it looked like they were going to build another chance there. Langston Blackstock snuffs it out for the Hounds. Here's Sheldon. For Carroll. Jope. Sheldon continued his run down this near side. Biasi puts in a great challenge, but does concede a corner to Le Rouge. Former Monterey Bay man, James Murphy, will take the corner. Bends it into the back stick. Amu Mensah couldn't get onto it. Villanueva has 2 men on him, but plays it back into the middle, and it's caught by Eric Dick. Here's Forbes at the other end. Didn't quite have enough time to turn. Ooh, that's a giveaway. Mertz for Sterling! Oh, crucial tackle by Stephen Carroll to keep Detroit in it.
It should really, truly be 3-0 right now. Detroit, if they can get back into this match, that is going to be a moment we look back on and think Keziah Sterling should have made this 3-0 and almost beyond reach for the visitors.
Blackstock. Poked ahead by Sample. Mertz is fouled. Free kick. And Pittsburgh take it quickly. A wonderful ball played for Forbes. Forbes for Sample, for Griffin, and there was a miscommunication between Griffin and Mertz. Biasi quickly regains possession for Pittsburgh. Sample again wins a throw-in for the Hounds. It looks like that will lead to a double swap for Pittsburgh. Danny Rivera and Sean Suber are going to come on, and 2 of the 3 players on a yellow for Pittsburgh are coming out, Junior Etu and Langston Blackstock.
We have substitutions for the Riverhounds. Coming out of the match, number 7, Langston Blackstock. And into the match, number 4, Danny Rivera.
How active was Junior Etu at times tonight, and certainly Langston Blackstock has played his part for the Hounds as well. And I wonder if they were on, just say if they weren't on yellows, if they would have stayed on a little bit longer for Bob Lilly's group. But 2 pretty solid players to bring on. One of Bob Lilly's favorites over the years. Danny Rivera is on, as is Sean Suber.
That was one of the better showings I've seen in quite some time for Junior Etu going forward. His willingness to run, being decisive. He almost got a goal in the first half, created the penalty a little bit later on in the opening stanza. And my goodness, he was a constant threat all night. And the aggressiveness of Langston Blackstock defending was a real problem for Detroit City this entire evening.
Sterling tried to keep that in play unsuccessfully. It's a goal kick for Detroit.
Riverhounds fans, just a reminder that after the game, players will be signing autographs on the pitch. Stick around to meet the team, presented by King Orthodontics. Pittsburgh's most confident smiles with locations in Wexford and Bridgeville. Visit them at kingorthodontics.com.
Pittsburgh have had 2 clean sheets already this season. They would love nothing more than to blank Detroit in their return to Highmark after they knocked the Hounds out last season in the playoffs.
And this is an important stretch of the season for the Pittsburgh Riverhounds. This is the first of 3 consecutive matches here at Highmark Stadium. So to start off with 3 points against a team that was perfect coming into tonight would be a dream start to that 3-game homestand, and see the Riverhounds continue to try to climb back up the Eastern Conference standings. Just to show you how dominant the Riverhounds have been tonight at half, Detroit City, their XG was .02. Well, I got good news, bad news. They've tripled that number. That's the good news. The bad news is it's still .06. That's just not going to get it done.
Ball's played ahead by Mertz. It'll allow Steinwasser to reset for Detroit. Again, Detroit's unbeaten and perfect start to the season. Very much in jeopardy at the moment. Pittsburgh trying to finish this off with a strong showing down the stretch and pick up their 2nd consecutive win and their 2nd win in total at the start of the season. Just over 20 minutes plus stoppage time left. As that ball flies out, it's going to be another sub for Detroit. Ben Morris is off, and we will see Connor Rutz come on, and he's not the only one. Daniel Spalletta is going to come on. And Ali Coote will take a seat. So Danny Dicchio has now made 4 of his 5 changes. We'll see what ruts Espeleta can provide off the bench for these last 20-plus minutes. Detroit still has Dominic Gasso on the bench. If they want to maybe call back on that playoff win from last season, he was the lone goal scorer. Besides that, Ryan Williams is the only other outfield player available. He's normally a defensive part of the equation.
Help us celebrate Amo's birthday at our next game, next Saturday, May 4th, as the Riverhounds take on Miami FC. Be one of the first 750 fans and receive your very own Squish Amo.
Oh, wonderful reverse ball played here by Sterling. Back across, Amu Mensah is there for the intervention. And then Sample stumbled, but he was fouled in the end by Jobe. Free kick for Pittsburgh, and they're not going to waste any time. But they're told to bring it back. At the moment, Jamie, I think the only other group that's had a better performance than the Hounds have been the Steel Army. They're on the right-hand side. They've been tremendous all night. And again, that tends to be par for the course around these parts. It's one of the best supporters groups in the country.
Well said. Couldn't agree with you more. I remember having to go as a visitor to Highmark Stadium, and they make it miserable for the visitors. They played their part. The 11 players on the field have played their part for the Riverhounds tonight. My goodness, what a touch from Forbes.
Forbes follows up and follows through. It's a free kick for Detroit.
This is always a venue that you love to play at because aesthetically it's gorgeous. Playing right on the water, backdrop of downtown Pittsburgh. But you also hate it at the same time because of those supporters behind the goal on the right side of your screen. And it's just, each and every year, it just gets bigger and bigger. And you just wonder how many more stands are going to be added each offseason.
That crowd they had in the Open Cup against Columbus last year has kind of become the marker to try to reach here at Highmark. This crowd tonight is not far off of that. They've been absolutely tremendous. And their team have certainly backed it up. There's still time for Detroit. 17 minutes plus stoppage time, but at the moment, Pittsburgh have looked the more likely, and Keziah Sterling nearly caught out Nate Steinwasser with a little dink over the top.
Riverhounds fans, women's soccer is coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, that is not the moment when Steinwasser needs to be rushing out. He was never going to get there. This is at the corner of the 18. Stephen Carroll, step for step with Keziah Sterling in that moment. Steinwasser spared some blushes as Sterling was unable to guide that on target.
That's going to go out of play off the boot of Sheldon. Couldn't find Connor Rutz. If you're just tuning in, the goals have come from Pat Hogan, an unlikely source, and Danny Griffin from the penalty spot, both in the first half. Pittsburgh have looked the more likely since. There's only been the one chance for Detroit off the head of Maxi Rodriguez to speak of to this point. Ooh, that's a challenge from Joe. That was a bit out of order. And the referee does have his hand in his pocket. It's going to be a yellow card. We're starting to see signs of great Pittsburgh game management, which has been part of the fabric these last few years of Bob Lilly's tutelage.
And in that moment, Griffin just being first to those second balls. It's been a theme all night for the Riverhounds. They have just put themselves continually in the right position time and time again. It's leading to picking up balls in good positions, winning fouls, stopping Detroit City from getting any sort of momentum whatsoever tonight.
Outside of the boot, ball by Sheldon is cut out. Steinwasser again will reset. Again, 5 wins out of 5 for Detroit. Hasn't looked like that tonight. Pittsburgh have been a big reason why. Osumanu. Griffin up ahead. Suber. Mertz up ahead for Forbes. Still Canardo Forbes, so composed. Rides the challenge from Sheldon. And then after he does all of that beautiful work, plays a rare miscued pass.
We'd like to thank Piata Italian Street Food for helping fuel the team. Piata Italian Street Food is an official post-game meal partner. And you can visit them in several locations, including East Liberty, Oakland, Northway, South Hills, and North Fayette.
Ball intended for Rutz. It's going to go out of play. It's been one of those nights for Detroit. They've been in a rut, frankly, in the attacking third tonight. That just tends to happen to teams when they come to Highmark. The setup that Bob Lilly puts together. And again, when Orange County won here earlier this season, some people thought that maybe that is the crack in the armor. Might not be the same anymore here, but boy, have Pittsburgh responded. And then they win at Phoenix last time out to finally get a win on the board, and it has carried over into tonight. Coming together there between Mertz and I think Sheldon. It's going to go Detroit's way. Both technical areas weren't thrilled with the initial challenge. And it's another miscued pass by Detroit. That continues to epitomize the night for them, trying to move things forward. Stephen Carroll literally passing it to air. It was the 78th minute when Dominic Gasso scored that goal in the playoff game. That goal knocked Pittsburgh out after a Players' Shield season, having the MVP in Albert Dequa. Detroit broke their hearts. Pittsburgh would love nothing more than to finish this off and return the favor, with Detroit in quite the mood at the start of this season. It would end their historic beginning. We know Detroit are going to keep fighting to the last. They're going to need a bit more quality in the final third. Was sent out of play by Daniel Espeleta, and here comes the final Detroit substitution. We will not see Dominic Gasso. We will see Ryan Williams come on for Abdoulaye Diop.
Yeah, Diop normally is able to help control the middle of the park. Today, just overrun by Pittsburgh. Their willingness to go and fight, to claw, to win those second balls, and Diop will leave the game with a yellow card and nothing else really to show for this performance. Very workmanlike, but just didn't have the final product, much like the other 10 players around him tonight.
Just had a chance to take a quick peek, I should say, around the league. Miami is still leading against San Antonio. It's 2-1 in that game. Indy 11 leading North Carolina by the same score. Memphis at Birmingham. Memphis leading 2-0. What a huge win that could be for Memphis 901. They need it desperately at the moment. In the game that's going on CBS Sports Network, it's the Rowdies 2. It's New Mexico 0 at the half. Meanwhile, the Riverhounds will make a couple of changes. It's going to be a curtain call for Kenardo Forbes on his big night, one of many in a Riverhounds uniform. It'll be Mike DeShields who comes on to take his place. Keziah Sterling exits as well. Babacar Dieng, who scored his first Hounds goal last time out against Phoenix, will come on for the remainder here at Highmark.
He takes the place now of the USL's all-time minutes leader, King Kenny Forbes.
That goes out for a Detroit throw.
You heard the in-house PA announcer once again commemorating Kenardo Forbes for his historic achievement. He's a former player of this league, and Sean, you'll know this from covering it for so long. That is something every player dreams of, to have that much of an impact for that long. And congratulations, Kenardo Forbes. Again, from everyone here on our production crew and ones that are fortunate enough to have been calling his games for years on end now, to continue to do it at a high level is such a remarkable achievement.
Well said. It's going to be a free kick for Pittsburgh. One other score that I should mention, it's going on right now. Halftime in Louisville. Lou City 3, Hartford Athletic 0. Brendan Burke's boys have not been humbled yet this season. They might get a humbling tonight. And if tonight's any indication, especially in the East, the USL Championship, it's going to be a heck of a race throughout the entirety of the campaign. The ball is speared into the penalty area. Chance here for Detroit. It's Matthews. Blocked. First real big last-ditch effort for Pittsburgh defensively. DeShields with the intervention. And it's out for a Detroit throw with 6 minutes left of the 90.
Tonight's attendance is a
This is so good from DeShields to throw himself in the path of that, to make that play. That was remarkable defending combined effort of the two Pittsburgh defenders.
Another one up for grabs. Sample heading it away. You're right, Jamie. It looked like it was Oshumanu as well helping out for the Hounds, along with DeShields.
Yeah, the two of them both. If it wasn't one, it was the other. They were both in the vicinity, both with reckless abandon, throwing themselves into the path to try to block it. That's commitment. That's the stuff that Bob Lilly will like just as much as the goal scoring at the other end.
Carroll back for Steinwasser. Could have been awkward there, but handled nicely. Carroll up ahead looking for Matthews and Eric Dick. He's there for Pittsburgh. Matthews has made an impact since coming on, but he sees yellow there for Detroit.
Yellow card against Detroit City FC.
I was about to say, could this last sequence be maybe a springboard for Detroit to have something left in the tank? The yellow card takes some of the air out of it, for Detroit City at least, and allows Pittsburgh to use more of the clock. Here's Mertz, who's been excellent tonight for his hometown Hounds. From the throw, Dien scored the third of Pittsburgh's 3 in Phoenix last time out. We talked about how incredible the East race could be. Louisville, Charleston, and well, Detroit, frankly, have been the pace setters, but certainly Indy could play their way back into it. Now Pittsburgh entering the party, to quote Bob Lilly. These potentially 2 wins in a row. Hartford with Brendan Burke, who's always been excellent in USL Championship play with his teams over the years. It could really be a heck of a race. It's going to be a foul against DeShields. Free kick for Detroit as we enter the final stanza. A chance for Ryan Williams to find somebody inside the Hounds penalty area. Williams bends it in. Nearly fell for Matthews. It's recycled. Spalletti. Amu Mensah keeps it in and is fouled. Free kick Detroit. This time Suber a bit overzealous. Just that one Maxi Rodriguez header as far as shots on target are concerned for Le Rouge. We don't know how much stoppage time there will be. However, a goal for Detroit would make it interesting regardless, and Murphy went for goal. But in the end, it is secured by Eric Dick. Mertz gets on the ball here for the Hounds as we approach the 90th minute. Mertz kept it alive for the Hounds somehow as he was surrounded. Here's Griffin. Mertz. One back by Williams, who is brought down. Looks like that is gonna be a yellow card against Sean Suber. Pittsburgh are making a change. It's their final one of the night. One of their academy boys, Nate Dragicic. He's going to come on, and Robbie Mertz exits after a tremendous shift for the Hounds tonight.
That's what you've come to expect from Robbie Mertz. Doing it consistently for a very long time now, and earlier this season he made his 100th appearance for the club, and he's just continued to be impactful week in and week out.
The yellow card for the Riverhounds was booked against number 27, Babacar Diene.
Babacar Diene booked for the Hounds as we enter second half stoppage time. We enter 5 added minutes. We look at tonight's man of the match. It is presented by Modelo. And Pittsburgh, they needed a great start to this match. Pat Hogan is the one who gave it to them. He's our man of the match.
What a fantastic header. Early on in the 20th minute, there had been 20 minutes of sustained pressure for the Riverhounds, but until this moment, they hadn't gotten anything to show for it, and this goal really opened it up. Manager substituted Mertz, provides the service, and Pat Hogan, for the first time in a Riverhounds jersey, gets on the end of it. And he gets his goal at one end. He keeps, well, he's about 4 minutes away from keeping a clean sheet. The way things are going now, they've limited a team that averages 2 goals a game coming into tonight to 0.12 expected goals. It's about as perfect of a night for the Riverhounds as they could have hoped for. Now they need to continue to be professional, see this out. And Bob Lilly will be happy as can be with back-to-back wins.
Detroit won a free kick. They will not get it. Dick will recycle the play, so he uses as much clock as he's allowed. Did see an indirect free kick be given for goalkeeping time wasting yesterday in the Phoenix Rhode Island game, so goalkeepers beware of time wasting down the stretch. That did lead to a Rhode Island goal, and Phoenix's lead was in jeopardy for about 20 seconds. It's going to be something that we may have to continue to look at and keep an eye on as the season moves along in situations just like this.
What a good performance tonight from the defensive unit. Eric Dick, in the few moments that he was called upon, he's been up to the task. He's working under the goalkeeper coach, John Bush, a legend within Major League Soccer, and now paying it forward to the next generation of goalkeepers in the goalkeeper union. Eric Dick, since he's come over from Minnesota United, has just shown his value and his worth. He was highly sought after in the offseason. This is a player that is really getting better and better. 6'5", 29-year-old Eric Dick.
Sheldon for Detroit. A sidewinding effort could fall for Matthews, who tries to keep it alive inside the penalty area. He turns and shoots, it's deflected. Pittsburgh get it out of the penalty area, and now they do just about get it out of harm's way. And then Detroit are saying that Kyle Johnston got in the way as a challenge came in, I believe, on Griffin. It's going to be a Pittsburgh free kick, and a yellow card has come out as well. Looks like Stephen Carroll was booked, and actually it's Rivera who's on the wrong end of the challenge.
We got a yellow card against Detroit City FC. Number 13, Matt Shelton.
I beg your pardon, it's actually Sheldon, it looks like, who was booked instead. Both players were not happy. It's the extracurriculars there that lead to the yellow. Just over a minute left of injury time. Just to piggyback off of what you were just saying earlier, Jamie, when you think about textbook, classic Pittsburgh performances, a game like tonight is what you think about when you think about Bob Lilly coach teams, and they've checked off all the boxes this evening.
This would be the type of vintage performance that Bob Lilly will expect from his team week after week, as the boot goes flying for Rivera. He'll like these games better than any 4-3 shootout, a 2-0 comprehensive performance at home. That's a Bob Lilly special right there.
Pittsburgh nearly are over the line. Carroll loose with it. Referee will come in. It's a free kick.
Oh, he's reaching for the back pocket.
Oh, and Stephen Carroll,
Oh,
I believe, as the referee has brandished a red card, I think is going to send Detroit's captain packing here. It's a Pittsburgh free kick. The yellow, I should say the red has not come out yet. Oh dear, oh dear.
no.
Nowhere near a red card, but that's exactly what's happened.
So the studs are exposed, but where the contact is actually made is with the inside of the boot of Stephen Carroll, not with the studs on the shin. And it's not excessively high. It's above the ankle. Watch the contact. His foot is in front of it. He's actually trying to make a tackle in front of it. The ball goes the other direction because Carroll gets enough of the ball. That's not it.
Well, to say that that's undeserved would be an understatement. Detroit are down to 10 the rest of the way. And what's really tough about that is that he might, I should say, will likely miss the next match via a suspension for Detroit, and that's really where it hurts more.
Yeah, this game is the foregone conclusion this moment in time, but you talk about the compounding factor that they've got to go away to Loudon now without their captain. It's the dying embers of this match, and just a situation that didn't need to happen, but for it to be a sending off, never the case.
Revenge. Sweet, sweet Riverhounds revenge. They get Detroit City back for the playoffs last season. It was another high-mark masterclass from Pittsburgh tonight when they needed it most to help continue the turnaround in this early season. The Steel Army will be headed home very, very happy tonight. It's a 2-0 win for the Hounds thanks to Pat Hogan and Danny Griffin's first half goals. And Detroit's perfect season, their unbeaten start to the season, comes crashing down here in the Steel City tonight. As the Steel Army celebrates, we'll take a look at the save of the game tonight. Tonight's smooth save of the game is presented by Smoothie King. That tremendous block, Jamie, by Alal Osumano to help keep it at 2-0.
Well, you know it's a good night when the save of the match doesn't even come from the goalkeeper because there was so little thrown his way. The back line of the Pittsburgh Riverhounds were downright stellar tonight. A nearly flawless performance. Osumano wins the first header, then has the presence of mind to get his feet and the athletic ability to go and close down, throw himself in front of it, and make tonight's save of the match. What a performance from the Riverhounds defensively tonight.
Back-to-back wins for Bob Lilly, and Pittsburgh feel like Pittsburgh again after a 2-0 win over Detroit City. We'll step aside and we will wrap it all up next here at Highmark.
Have you seen the new double-sided scratch-off from the Pennsylvania Lottery? It's $1 Million Multiplier Madness. And it comes with a bonus game on the back for even more chances to win. It's like having a piece of cake for dessert, and then having another piece of cake. Because after all, who doesn't like more of a good thing?
Scratch it, flip it, and keep on scratching.
Looking amazing. At AHN, we see you trying to be your absolute best. And when it feels like you lost your best along the way. We see you taking control.
Looks good. Prescription. It says here.
And needing the quickest care possible.
Let's go, let's go.
At AHN, we see you.
Where can you get Wi-Fi speeds faster than Verizon? X marks the spot. Get the lowest price ever for Xfinity Gig Speed Internet with unlimited data included. That's Xfinity Gig Speed Internet for only $30 a month for 12 months with no annual contract. And you add a line of Xfinity Mobile Unlimited. If you want to save more than $800 over Verizon in your first year, X marks the spot. Switch to fast, reliable Xfinity Internet and bring on the good stuff.
Sean St. Jacques, Jamie Watson back here with you to wrap things up here at Highmark. What a night here in the Steel City. Pittsburgh gets revenge on Detroit City and ends their perfect start to the regular season. A 2-0 win, back-to-back wins for the Hounds as we take a look back at how this one unfolded here at Highmark. And Jamie, we begin in the 20th minute with Pat Hogan getting up high and hammering home a header.
Hogan's on the ground when the first ball from Mertz comes in. It's going to find its way back. Now he's at the 6. Now he makes it jump to the top of the 6. Nobody from Detroit City picks him up. And then Hogan has the presence of mind to be able to finish to the far post. It's a wonderful goal, his first as a Riverhound. You combine that with the fact that his team would go on and ultimately have a shutout tonight. Pat Hogan puts a man-of-the-match performance. It all started in this moment. Just the ingenuity from Mertz to be able to create a half yard to be able to get the cross off with something spectacular.
33rd minute, we see this incredible run by Junior Etu, but then a bit of controversy on the penalty given.
Well, it was deemed that there was no contact made from Amu Mensah. I would beg to differ in this moment, but nobody cares about my opinion. We only care about Kyle Johnson's opinion. He points to the spot, a yellow card for Amu Mensah, and up goes the captain, Danny Griffin. Tries to send Steinwasser the wrong way with his eyes and with his hips, but Steinwasser guesses correctly. Just too much on the initial effort. That makes it 2-0 just before half for the Riverhounds, and professionalism at its finest to see that second half out.
Full-time match stats, and not much changed between the first half to the second half for Detroit. They did get one shot on target off the head of Maxi Rodriguez and a couple of Pittsburgh blocks in there. That was about it.
And the one stat that's not on there that tells the real story of the night, 0.12 expected goals for a team coming into tonight, averaging 2 goals a game. Fantastic from the Riverhounds defensively.
And in the end, it's a fantastic night overall. Many milestones reached, not just by Canardo Forbes, but by Danny Griffin and others as well. And the Riverhounds get revenge on Detroit City for the playoff exit in 2023. For Jamie Watson and our entire crew, I'm Sean St. Jacques. We say so long from the Steel City. Pittsburgh takes down Detroit by 2-0.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League Championship cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League Championship.